We interrupt your regularly scheduled programming to inform you that I'm an idiot. I forgot to get part of the video, so you're going to just see just our pretty little cartoon faces for about an hour before the video comes in. Hopefully you enjoy it anyway. Bye!
Welcome to the Couch Beers podcast. Thanks for coming back, all 7 of you. Appreciate all
last time you said we had like 400 million or something.
We
really fell off after the first
we
episode.
had 400,000, but I only got feedback from 7 people.
Oh, so they
reached out to me on LinkedIn
gotcha.
and they said, connect with me. I think I should be linked up. I think that's a
great
flaw.
point.
I think that's a flaw in LinkedIn. Like, I should run LinkedIn.
This is the 3rd episode of the podcast, and
Episode 3.
talking about LinkedIn in every single one. It's a new
Well,
theme.
I think that is a theme because I do have a LinkedIn story that I'd like to share. We'll get to it. It gets me pretty fired up, but I just want to reiterate what I just said. LinkedIn. What do you do when you request a friend request? LinkedIn. Not LinkedIn. Facebook, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What do you do for LinkedIn? You link up.
Make a connection.
Boo. I don't like that. Like, who goes to a bar or restaurant and says, hey, connect with me?
It must be like industry or something. The in must mean something. Because isn't it capital? Like capital I, capital N?
That could be them just, well...
Linked
the logo,
industry network.
The logo on the app is just in. There's no L or anything. I don't know. I think there's a huge injustice. So let me explain things that I think are wrong. When you open a restaurant and a hotel in the town named Kenyon, what do you name the hotel bar? Or hotel and bar? I'll tell you what you name it. You name it the Kenyon.
Like
not Y-O-N,
I-N-N?
capital I-N-N. I will fight anyone to that. That is how you do it. The Kenyon.
Is that an actual place, or do you
No,
wish
it's not.
there was?
They called it the Kenyon Bar and Grill, or this is. I grew up in Kenyon, Minnesota. So when we heard there was going to be a hotel and bar restaurant, my buddy and I just looked at each other and we said, if they don't name it the Kenyon, someone's going to jail.
Did they?
So the original owners closed up shop prior to COVID, so I don't know. I can't speak to jailing.
Mm-hmm.
Prison may have been on the table, but I don't know.
Interesting.
Do not know. Anyway, so things like that are, if you want to market to me, make it so. So, American, sold. The come on in. Hell yeah, I'm in. The sleep in. Yep, I'm there. Like, those are the things that they're not even, you could argue they're not clever. I think they are, because they took the effort to be like, no, we're not going to call it stay here or the stay bridge. We're going to call it the sleep in.
Okay.
Comfort in is not, if you're comfort in a friend, but that's a stretch. I think that's kind of, I wouldn't go there, but.
Sorry. I think I just made a connection in my head. Holiday Inn. It's like you're going on holiday.
Oh,
but you're staying in.
It's a British thing. Going on a holiday.
It doesn't really make sense. It made sense in my head.
American makes sense.
Yeah.
The come on in. I'm trying to think of the ones off the hand. There's a lot of them in North Dakota that I saw that I was like, never heard of that one, but
that checks out.
I'll allow it. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I should be CEO of LinkedIn. It doesn't need to be turned around, but I could just turn it up.
There you go. That could be your motto.
LinkedIn, turn up.
You got shells? Is that what you're drinking?
I'm drinking the Keller Pills by the Shells Brewing Company. out of New Ulm. Yes.
Mine is, look at this logo.
That's kind of cool.
Horseface Hoppy Wheat. It's like 80s neon colors.
That's pretty cool. Who makes it?
I think Horseface is the thing. Oh, no. Sorry. Carbon 4 Brewing in Madison, Wisconsin.
It
was $1.99.
I can't tell if that's expensive or cheap.
Seems cheap.
Seems expensive. A 6-pack would be
$2
$12.
times 6. Okay. Yeah,
Plus liquor tax would be what, like $19,000?
something like that.
Something like that. So, okay, Tim, I got a question for you.
Okay.
And I think in a podcast situation, when I ask a question, you should ask it as a reciprocating.
Okay, so you gotta
So I'm
prepare
asking
an
you a
answer.
question. Well, not necessarily, but so tell me something. Tell me something interesting about yourself that no one else knows.
Ooh.
Or a fascinating, interesting fun fact about Tim Howell. That no one else knows, or very, very, very few people know.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything no one else knows. That's tough. I tried to learn how to ride a unicycle when I was in like middle school. Failed epically. I don't know.
Is that like an embarrassing thing about you, or is that a fun fact?
I don't think it's embarrassing. It's just that's for some reason the first thing I thought of.
Okay. Cool.
What about you?
You're an open
I'll try and come up with a better one. That one sucked.
Well, a lot of people don't know this, but I play the stand-up bass for the Bare Naked Ladies, or I did.
Yeah, nobody believes that. I'm glad you thought that was funny. So you asked me that question, and that was your canned response?
No, that was my what?
That was your canned response?
Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. Because I said it so seriously. If you didn't call me out right away, you should have been like, wow, that's pretty cool. How'd you leave the band?
Nobody would have believed it.
How do they know?
They would have thought I was dumb for believing you.
What if I put on my LinkedIn, like I went back to like 2000...
Can you do that?
2005.
Oh, yeah, I suppose you
can add experiences. Well, jobs.
I'm actually
Gigs.
surprised you don't have
Gigs.
something like that on your LinkedIn.
I think wouldn't that be hilarious?
Yeah,
I should do that.
you should. I
I
agree.
played stand-up bass for the Bare Naked Ladies for like a year and a half on tour. And I should cite the tour that they did that year. And then people would say, you're not even that old.
Is the stand-up bass, is that one always like acoustic?
I think so, but I wouldn't be surprised if they now have it electrified because
Yeah, that's true.
they have Dave Matthews Band has the stand-up, the violin that's electric.
Yeah.
And
They
they
make
have-
electric acoustic guitars too.
Yeah, so
It's all about tone.
hell yeah. I think my interesting fact that not many people know, but if they know me, they know, would be I have a sick tattoo on my left arm.
You do. It's actually like, of every tattoo I've ever seen on a person, it might be my favorite one.
We're not going to talk about it. We have to get questions. No, never mind. We can talk about it. I was going to say.
We don't have to if you want to be mysterious.
I kind of want people to DM the Graham account and Gmail and everything and guess what it is.
Okay. Yeah.
But they probably know us who are watching
Yeah,
or
if
listening. So.
I mean, if you send it, I don't even know if the DMs are open, but
I
send
think
it. Send an email to couchbeerspodcast@gmail.com or DM on Instagram to guess what Zach's tattoo is.
And if it's someone, Tim and I both, I don't know how I want to phrase this. If you can guess it without knowing what it is, maybe.
Is there a prize?
Maybe the prize would be
First guest appearance?
first guest appearance or a beer with Zach and Tim in a public place.
Does it have to be public? Like, you're a little scared to meet up with someone that you don't know?
I mean, that's kind of my rules of dating, I guess.
I suppose.
Let's meet in a public place in case you kill people for a living.
I'm assuming that most of the 400,000 people that are listening to this actually know us, though.
I don't think I know 400,000 people.
No, there's no way.
Do you think?
Isn't there? There's like some.
6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
No, there's like some. There's something where it's like, people really only can form, like meaningful relationships with like 200 people at a time. It dates back to like when we lived in tribes and stuff.
Yes, I know. I read it in a management theory book or something, where, yeah, tribes grew to the size of, like, I think 150.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And then after that, it's like, that's when you stop knowing people. I can't remember what the rule is or what that was about, but I remember 150 being the number.
For some reason, I was thinking 146, but I'm not sure.
Interessante.
It's got to be a weird number. It can't be a round number, 150.
Well, I mean, you got to round up, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I was just thinking in my head?
Tell me.
Wait. Yep. I was thinking about, like, binary is base 2, meaning you count like 0, 1. There's only 2 digits.
Mm-hmm.
Then you start back over. 1, 0 is 3. I wonder if there's a base number that like divides into 146 evenly, and maybe that's how our brains are supposed to be doing math. But we've been doing math in base 10 forever. Doesn't make any sense. That's just how my brain works.
I didn't follow much of that because I don't. But I'm going to just smile and nod. And
I wrote it in my notebook. I don't have anything today. I have literally 2 lines written in here.
You didn't write your top 10 movies?
I didn't. I mean, I have it on my phone. I can pull it out. But I wrote water park brain. Have I ever told you like how I think of my brain like a water park?
Nope. But I'm interested now.
So, like, I feel like my brain is the top of the slide. You know, you go up, you climb up all the stairs. When you're standing at the top, you're in my brain. Okay?
Okay. On top of your brain or in your brain?
You're in my brain.
Okay.
So you're my thought. You're standing on the top of the water slide.
Okay.
Now you have to get down to the pool, which is my mouth. And you have 4 different slides to choose from. Some of the slides,
the blue one, the green.
Sure. Let's say the red one is like the vertical goes straight down into the pool. You're not taking any turns. The green slide, you get down to the pool. There's only a couple twists, but you get there. Then the purple slide, that one, it's like twists and turns. You might be in that slide for 20 minutes before you get down to the pool. That's how I think of my brain. Because sometimes I'm like, I'll start talking and I'll just like, I'll have an idea of like the reason I started bringing this up. And I have an idea like, this is why I'm telling you this whole story or something. And halfway through I'll forget and I'll just like veer off to something else, you know?
Uh-huh. What's the 4th slide?
I don't know. Did I say there's 4?
Yeah.
Something in the middle.
Okay. Maybe is it one? I was going to ask if one of these slides, you know, you said there's a lot of twists and turn. Are there any like right angle turns that you just run into a wall and then bounce off?
For sure.
Ooh, so if I'm your thought, I'm probably on that slide.
Because I'll start heading down one direction and realize that there's no point in me going that way. I'll just go directly back towards the pool.
Okay. Interesting. I like the analogy.
Thank you.
And that's why I asked what the colors of the slides were, to give me more of a visual.
I like that. When I tell people the water slide brain, I'm gonna use that from now on.
Because, yeah, for me, sometimes it's seemingly not relevant details really, I think, help a story or help a picture. For me, I visualize a lot of things too. So then when you said there are 4 slides and then how different slides get you down to the bottom, I was kind of like, okay, so I'm on top, you know, what's the furthest left slide? So that's why I said other colors. Mm-hmm. The blue slide, the red slide. It doesn't matter which order they are in.
And that's why you remembered I said 4, because you had 4 pictured in your brain.
Yep. I was like, okay, there's a purple one. There's a red one. There's a green one.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, where the hell's the blue one?
The blue one is the right angles.
Yeah.
Zigzag.
Is it a dark or a light blue?
I was
A
picturing
navy or a baby blue?
I was picturing
Sky.
primary color blue.
Like royal? What is that? What is primary color blue?
Well, like the 3 primary colors, red, yellow, and blue.
Mm.
That one.
Not Roy G. Biv. Wait, that is Roy G. Biv, isn't it?
Well, Roy G. Biv, basically, you take red and yellow, cut it in half, that's orange. You take, or not cut it in half, you mix them
You
together.
can do whatever you want with your colors, Tim. I don't know.
Yellow and blue, when you mix them together, green. That makes green. Red and blue, when you mix it together, that makes purple. That's where the rainbow comes from.
Purple and yellow is brown.
Really?
I don't know, but I think about it. I think I would be brown. DM us if you know what that answer is. I would love to know if if Tim's hair color is a combination of purple and gold, which would, yeah, because, well, I can also see green and yellow being brown,
Mm-hmm.
which would make arguably more sense with, yeah, but okay. Mm-hmm.
Are you going to make a joke about the Packers or something?
I was, but I don't want to offend anyone.
Yeah, there's some Packers fans that listen to this. 1 of the 7. Actually, there's more than 1 of 7. I
Okay.
think.
Melissa doesn't count though, right?
Correct.
Correct or not correct?
No, she counts, but that's why I said more than 1 of 7.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So literally, I've gotten through one of my.
Oh, you said
One
you
of my
didn't have
things.
anything written down.
I have 2. That was
Oh,
one. One
okay.
of them just says Water Park Brain.
Okay. What's the second one? Or do you want me to do my little LinkedIn story?
Whatever you got, hit me. My
Hit
other
you.
one, I'm not. It's not that important.
So I got 2 bits that, well, I got more than 10 movies, but
Oh, you actually came up with a list. I was gonna remind you, and then I forgot. So
it's like I have an elephant's brain. Nothing gets out of it. Isn't that what they say?
I don't know.
Or
I've never heard that.
yeah, it's like or a whale's brain, right? It's like nothing can. I don't know. Whatever. Good. I have a good memory. Yeah. So I got my list. I have follow-up questions as to like categories because some of these movies didn't make the cut, but that's because of the kind of movie they are.
Okay.
But it doesn't matter. So I put segments, so aka things I want to talk about. The LinkedIn story I want to tell you about. I think I should do a LinkedIn story every time. I have so many of those.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah, I'll do that. And then an update in Zach's love life, which there's nothing, but I got things that are in my head that I gotta say. So
Okay.
I got something for you, Tim.
Okay. What's up?
In the 2 years prior to COVID-19, where did you travel and why did you travel?
I traveled a bunch for work, just like around the U.S. and went to Germany a couple of times, Amsterdam.
All work related, huh?
Uh-huh. Well, no, I traveled for fun too. I went to Colorado, went to Denver a couple times to see Wolfpack.
Red Rock.
Yeah, at Red Rocks. That was pretty sick. One of them was for my friend's bachelor party. We saw Wolfpack then too because he likes them.
Cool. Okay.
But
And then but anything not work related. So that's where you traveled. Colorado, United States travel. Where did you go out of country prior to COVID? And not work related.
Not really. I went to the Boundary Waters when I was like 15 and ended up in Canada. But
That sounds like a story.
well, I mean,
We went camping and then all of a sudden,
like when you're in the Boundary Waters, there's some lakes that like half of the lake is in the US, half of it's in Canada. So like you could just go in the middle of the lake and you'd be right in the border. But
Do they have like Canadian Mounties on like water buffalo, like trolling the?
No, not that I saw.
So
It's
how does that
pretty-
work with as far as fishing goes? Do the United States and Canada, do they have like a, you know what, we'll just go by who's got the harder, tougher laws?
That's actually a great question, and I have no idea.
If you know the answer, please DM us.
I mean, I would guess that like those lakes, they just like they have. Well, even in Minnesota, like every lake has different rules.
Right.
So I bet they just have shared rule for different lakes.
Like maritime law.
Right.
Okay.
Where did you go?
Prior to COVID-19,
Yeah.
I've been to Philadelphia with my mother, which I would strongly encourage everyone to go to Philadelphia. That was so cool. Such a great trip. It was, we just ate everywhere. I mean, so I did what, so prior to COVID, I went to Iceland, Philadelphia, Phoenix, Las Vegas. I started traveling a lot more because I reached a point where I never traveled at all in college. Like people went to crazy places for spring break.
Mm-hmm.
I never did any of that. I went home for spring break and
Yeah, I did too.
I just kind of was like, all right, I'll play video games or something. Because I didn't have any money, and I didn't feel like it was right to ask my parents for money to go get drunk somewhere and do spring break. So I always went home for spring break. Never traveled in college. The only traveling I did in college was for like fraternity events that were kind of in the Midwest. Like I think we went to Iowa. There's some stories there. Went to Iowa. Ames. Is that your school?
Iowa State, yeah.
No, we went to Drake. It was in
Des Moines.
yeah, Des Moines, damn near Detroit of Iowa. There,
I like Des Moines.
bless you.
Des Moines like I always thought of Des Moines as like a mini St. Paul. It might even be bigger than St. Paul.
I can see the resemblance. Did you ever go to the Lumberyard?
No, but I'm familiar with it.
Okay. Anyway, let's see here. Yeah, Omaha.
That was like the running joke in college is that like
Let's go to the Lumberyard.
yeah, let's go to the Lumberyard. Yeah.
BYOB.
Because Ames is only like 30 minutes from Des Moines.
Yeah. I got lunch with a friend from high school who went to Ames. Whatever is that?
Would you like to share with the class what the Lumberyard is? Or you want to?
You can Googleize it, you folks, and then when we get some DMs of actual interest, we can explain. I'll go into the stories, but story. There's only one, but
Okay, I won't reveal.
it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, I only did that. South Dakota. I mean, yeah, really nowhere crazy in college.
I guess I went to Reno a couple years ago too. Actually, I went like twice in less than a year for a family reunion and then to go visit friends. But New Mexico a little bit. I have family there too.
So here's a fun. This is how I travel, which would probably drive, I would say 80% of people up the wall. I'm just estimating. I have no idea, but so when I went to Philadelphia with my mom, she's like, "What are we gonna do? We're gonna be there for 4 or 5 days," and I just said, "We're gonna land. We're gonna go to our hotel, and the rest we're just gonna figure out." She's like, "What? No, we need to do something specific." And I said, "Okay, what do you want to do?" Well, I said, "Oh, I got one thing. I'm going to run up the stairs and do the Rocky thing, you know?" And she's like, "Everyone does that." And I said,
Exactly.
"I don't care. Like, that's fine. That's what I want to do." She's like, "Well, I want to go to the museum." And I said, "We'll go to the museum then." She's like, "Well, what do you want to do this day?" I said, "I don't care. I don't know." Like, so when you're immersed in a location with no plan, that's when, for me, I'm thrilled on experiences. So I just sought them out. So it was like one night my mom's like, "Oh, I want to do Italian food because Philadelphia is really good, has good Italian food." My mom used to live in Philadelphia when my dad was stationed there in the Navy.
That live there.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, fine. So I just whip up Google, and I'm just like Italian restaurants near me, and I was like looking at them. I wasn't reading reviews. I review things. I don't read reviews because I don't agree with half the people, because all they do is, pardon my French, complain. I was going to use a different word. They complain about like
I don't think that's
how it's
French.
they complain. But anyway, so I find this place and I said, all right, let's go here. So I put on Google Maps and we're walking from our hotel. And we go down the street and it's just dark. Like there's maybe 2 lights. It's actually kind of a scary street, but there's enough light so it's like you can see. But I was like, there's no way the restaurant's down on this street. It says it's right there. And we look, and it's honestly like a row house looking thing. It's right there. It looks like the Full House kind of looking thing. And there's a faint light beyond some curtains, and I was like, well, this is it. And I walk up to it. My mom's like, oh, it's closed. And then because I made a reservation on some stupid app, and so the door just said the name. It was like Porcini's or something. And I said, okay. So I opened the door, and then erupted with noise. So, a little fun fact for everyone: Philadelphia offers the liquor license is so expensive in Philadelphia. They offer a lesser license they don't carry any booze inventory. It's BYOB, similar to the lumber yard. But it's BYOB. So
I've never seen a restaurant like that.
yeah, so that's where I was like, what, and so we had no idea. This is a foreign concept to us. So we sit down. It's super loud. Everyone's having fun. Everyone's getting like loaded, and I'm kind of like, wow, all the people working there barely spoke English. It was fantastic. Like I said, this is great. Super loud. The food was amazing. And they said, do you want wine with your food? And we said, yeah, sure. And the lady, she wasn't like, the service wasn't so much rude as it was like direct. So it was like, where's your wine? And I'm like, what? You have the wine. This is a restaurant,
Yeah.
And she's like, we'll see if we have any in the back. So they like gave us cooking wine, I think, because they found some and charged us whatever. But anyway, it was a great experience. And then later we talked to a local that we struck a conversation with because of a shirt I was wearing. And they said, oh yeah, what you do is you go to the booze store, you pick up a bottle of tequila, you go to a Mexican restaurant and get ripped for like, you pay for like the mix. So they have all the margarita mix. So you pay like $1 or $2 for the mix, and then they make the stuff with your alcohol. So it's like you can spend $30 on a bottle of tequila and get ripped at a bar for like $6.
Wow.
And I was like, holy cow. I said, it's amazing that that's what people do. Like, because the liquor license is so expensive that businesses have to compete or create an experience that matches that of a bar. So,
well, you always hear like restaurants, most of their money they make. Well, you worked in that industry. Most of the money they make is from liquor sales, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
So like, you gotta kind of try and what you're saying, like create an experience and keep people coming back.
And it's it's just really a remarkable, like, the East Coast is the wild, wild East to me. I mean, I don't know. It was just really fun. Then we went to a Philadelphia Flyers game, and I mean, I don't know if it's the East Coast fans or if it's Philadelphia fans. I think it's Philadelphia fans.
I think you're probably right.
But I think there was 2 unanswered goals by, I think it was the Columbus Blue Jackets. It was a terrible team. I don't know who it was. And the fans started booing the Flyers, like their own team.
Yeah.
Like, and then all of a sudden the Flyers kicked it in gear and like scored 6 unanswered goals. It just like murdered them. Anyway, it was just it was so fun because that's what I told my mom. I said, I want to go do the Rocky thing and I want to go to a Flyers game. Those are the 2 things I'm doing in 5 days. So
yeah.
What are you going to do the rest of the time? I'll figure it out.
Right.
Like that's where you find the cool things and you ask locals, you strike up conversations, you're a tourist. So I also went to Iceland with a buddy for 8 days, and he did damn near all the planning. He planned out the whole trip. Me, I was like, I paid for my flight. What are we doing? So I was very grateful because he had a pretty good structure. It was kind of like where we're staying most nights. We didn't know or where. Like we went 3 days without showering and we slept in the car, and then we finally paid for a campsite and then showered and everything, and then whatever. The last 2 nights we did a hostel in Reykjavik, and we should have done it flip-flopped.
Done that
We
first.
should have done 5 days in Reykjavik.
Oh, yeah.
Take the town, the biggest damn town.
Right.
The only town. And then traveled kind of. But I'm really grateful. I mean, it's beautiful country. I recommend it to anyone and everyone. But anyway,
That's what I've
that's
heard
kind of how
from
I travel.
everyone that's been there. Like, they loved it.
I mean, it's one of those things where I would definitely go back, but I'd rather see other parts of the world first.
Yeah.
It is so cool though, because at the hostel I met South Koreans, Swedish, Norwegian, a Spaniard, Czech people, like, and they were all like, the Norwegians were actually quite standoffish.
Really?
I don't know what it was, but they were maybe he was just an a-hole, but everyone else was like, we want to practice our English, and talking to an American, and it's like, I don't know if they were thinking we're some Texas rootin' tootin' son of a gun, but I'm very conversational, so I just started asking them tons of questions, and then the one guy, his name was Peter, he knew one phrase in English. I don't know English very good.
Really?
Yeah, and the reason
That's
I know
funny.
that is because I kept asking him questions, and he kept saying that over and over. And then his friend, I called him Peter too. I still have it because his name was Peter as well. He's like, he doesn't know any English.
That's funny.
And then the South Koreans were joking like, oh, he's, talking to their buddy who like went to the restroom or something. Just, he's from North Korea. And just like, they thought it was the funniest thing ever. And I'm kind of like,
Oh my
no,
God.
that's pretty funny, man. But the Iceland is really where everyone, even in Europe, goes to. It's like a mecca of culture and diversity, which is so cool. I mean,
Yeah.
then I had a few too many drinks at a bar in Reykjavik, but I had the bartender make, I had him make a drink that was not very popular in the United States, and it still isn't, and it's in bad taste, so don't judge me, people, but I asked him, there's an Irish guy at the bar who's like, oh yeah, I do, Irish car bombs, those aren't anything, and I said, oh, I bet you haven't had a Paul Walker.
Oh, no.
And he's like, I don't know what a Paul
What
Walker
is that?
Paul Walker is pretty much an Irish car bomb, but just with another shot of Fireball,
Oh,
which is,
no.
like, again,
That sounds terrible.
Well, it's worse when you know how Paul Walker passed.
Yeah.
But, I mean, yes, the shot isn't the greatest, but like I said, I'm not super proud of it. But that was like the Irish guy learned something from an American.
Is that an actual thing, or did you make it up?
It was a thing for about a week after Paul Walker passed
Oh.
in Grand Forks, North Dakota. So I don't know if that's considered a thing. But
Wait, he passed in Grand Forks, North Dakota? Or it was a thing in North Dakota?
it was a thing in North Dakota after Paul Walker had passed away.
Got it.
For about a week.
I was about to be really surprised when I heard that. That makes sense.
But yeah, so I kind of stole the show there as far as
It
prior
made me-
to travel.
It made me think of a story. So the last time I was in Germany for work, one of the guys like with the company that we were working with, he was like, we should go out after work today. It might have been like the day before we left. From my company, it was me and another engineer. And so the guy that we were working with, his English was amazing, but he brought a couple of his like work buddies. You could tell they were just bros.
Okay.
and they didn't speak English very well, but he would kind of translate between us. And the other engineer that I was with, like, we got our dinner, and he got a side of red cabbage, you know?
Okay.
And he takes a bite. He's like, wow, it reminds me so much of my grandma, because he's, like, German, kind of like German heritage, whatever.
Okay.
And I was like, your grandma was purple? And the German guy thought it was hilarious. And then he, like, repeated it for the other ones that didn't speak English. He repeated it in German, and they started laughing. It was funny. I was like, that was like one of my best one-liners that I've had. Pretty proud of that one.
I was gonna say, well, I'd make sure there's a stud when you're young that, because that that was pretty good, Tim.
Thanks.
So where have you traveled during COVID, or haven't you?
Pretty much nowhere. We went to visit Alyssa's parents in Wisconsin. I went to my cabin for deer hunting. That's basically it.
Bradley, he did not forget about your cabin.
Yeah, I did go to Brad's house over the summer, last summer.
Okay.
But I don't really call that traveling. I feel like that's just
Where's your
hanging out with
cabin
my
for
friend.
hunting?
Up near Bemidji.
Oh, okay. What is that, 2.5 hours?
More than that, like
20
3 and a
hours.
half,
3 and a
4
half.
maybe.
12 hours.
Yeah, when I was a kid, it felt like it was like another world away.
Oh, I read like not a theory. I think it was a... Huh?
I was making the beer cracking noise.
I don't know. I don't think it was a theory, but it was... Oh, maybe it was a theory, but it said... It was something like... The proportion of when you're traveling in a car when you're younger is a greater part of your life than when you're older. Does that make sense?
So it makes it feel like it was
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Well, it's like the same kind of thing where like 1 year when you're 5 years old is like an eternity because it's 20% of your entire life.
Right. Exactly.
But now it's like a year goes by like whoosh.
I mean, it's already February.
Yeah.
The Super Bowl, Tom Brady versus...
Yeah, we're recording this before the Super Bowl. This will come out after.
Who do you think's going to win?
That's a good question. Probably the Chiefs.
Okay.
But I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, like, Tampa Bay just looked pretty good.
Who do you want to win?
I don't really care. I know you probably hate Tom Brady.
So it's not that I hate Tom Brady.
You're just tired of him winning?
No, I actually want the Bucks to win because they never go to the Super Bowl.
That's true. But nobody cares about the Bucks. They're just going to be like, yeah, Tom Brady.
Well, and that's the thing is like I joked with a guy at work. He's like, "Who do you think's going to win the game?" And I said, "I don't know. How much is Tom Brady paying?" You know, because that's the whole. There is a lot of obviously scrutiny around Tom Brady, GOAT, but I think there's more scrutiny more skepticism and with Bill Belichick and the Patriots, that organization, more than it is Tom Brady. I mean, did the Deflategate, was that a Belichick or a Tom Brady thing? I don't know. Whatever, it's wrong, but it's kind of like
just a lot of shady stuff happening under the same guy.
I mean, this is his 10th Super Bowl?
Tom Brady?
Yeah.
Oh, I have no idea. That seems like really
it's
high.
his 20th Super Bowl.
Well, how many has he won? Like 6?
6 or something.
5?
I don't know.
2?
0. He's never won.
We did a lot of research leading into this podcast. Oh, there you go.
Okay, so during COVID you didn't travel. Okay. What about what are your future plans for traveling? Let's say on a plane, not in a car.
Sure. I want to go to Hawaii. For sure. I got some frequent flyer miles saved up. Probably going to do that. I don't know. Maybe this year, maybe next year. I like going to Colorado, see concerts and stuff, because Red Rocks is so cool. So probably do that again. And so Vulfpeck, my favorite band, go back and listen to the first episode. they like they don't really tour. They haven't toured since 2017. So they do like 3 shows a year usually. Last or 2019, they did one in Red Rocks in Denver, one Madison Square Garden. They're like one of the first fully independent bands to sell out Madison Square Garden. I don't know if you knew that. It's kind of a big deal.
I did. You told me that, but it's sick.
Yeah, actually, you can watch the whole concert on YouTube. They like released it with like mastered music and stuff. It's awesome. You should watch it. I know you have, but I'm talking to the listeners.
A couple times.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What was I saying? Oh, their other concert was, they did one in California too. I think that was it. In 2019, they only played 3 shows.
In conclusion, Tim is only going to Hawaii in the future.
Yeah, I want to go to Ireland.
In the next 5 years?
I don't know. So Alyssa was going to go last April with a bunch of her friends, but that got the kibosh. They were like, because it was March really when everything was getting shut down.
Yeah.
And they were like
we're going to Ireland.
No, like when you think back to then, it was like, it felt like it was going to get shut down for 2 weeks and then everything was going to get back open, right? Do you remember that feeling?
Kinda. Yeah.
We're like, oh, we just got to get through a couple weeks and then we'll come back. But now it's been like a year, so it's just, I don't know. It's hard to accept maybe for people.
Yeah, it's almost been a year exactly.
But
what's changed?
Yeah. So I want to go to Ireland. Maybe she'll end up going with her friends. I'm sure they will. So maybe I won't go for a while, but
well, you could always, I know, I thought it was 2022 or maybe 2023, but I thought it was some of our friends wanted to get a big group to go together and go to Oktoberfest in Munich.
Yeah, I want to do that too. That'd be fun.
Cool.
I also want to go to Croatia because Croatia is supposed to be awesome. I asked that we had like a foreign exchange student in high school, and I asked her. I was like,
"Will you marry me?"
No, she was from Germany. I'm like, so like in the U.S. we go to other states to go on vacation. Like, what is your favorite like European country to go to? And she's like, Croatia. It's everyone's favorite.
Well, is she from Croatia?
No, she's from Germany.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I missed that. Sorry.
So I'm like, if she says it's the best one,
well,
I want to go.
Did she say why?
I don't know. They got like beaches and stuff. It's where Game of Thrones was filmed. Like King's Landing is Croatia. That's not why she said it. I mean, that was before.
I was gonna say those are 2 reasons. One wasn't relevant at the time.
No, but I mean, it's just. I want to see what the hype is about.
All right, I'll allow it.
I don't think I know anybody that's been there either. Maybe I do.
Well, yeah, you do. You know the
Italy.
person from that German from high school.
That's true. I don't actually even remember what she looked like, what her name was. I have no idea. I just remember asking her that single question.
Thanks. Bye.
I always wanted to go to Venice because I read a book that was based in Venice when I was a kid. But everyone that I know that's been there is like, didn't love it.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
What about you? Where do you want to go?
Well, to answer the question prior to that, I've only been to Las Vegas during COVID. Twice. Once for Jake's.
Wait, really?
Yeah, once with Jake's.
I only knew about the one time.
It was one time was Jake and I's like best man bachelor party, just he and I, and then we went again in July, whatever. So yeah, twice. So that was great.
Jake was one of your friends from college.
Correct.
And you guys bought a house together.
Correct. Yep.
Right. How did that come about?
We'll get to the origin story
sorry.
at some point.
I'm getting distracted.
No, that's fine. No, so future travel plans for this year. In May, I'm going back to Las Vegas for Jake's real bachelor party. So are you, right?
Yep.
Yep. In July, I'm going to South Carolina. No. Is it South Carolina?
I don't know.
Yeah, South Carolina. It's Myrtle Beach, right?
No idea. Never been there.
Or is it Florida? I don't know.
I think Myrtle Beach is Florida.
DM us if you want to. I bought a ticket to Myrtle Beach, so.
I feel like logging into the Instagram account and looking through the DMs to find out if Myrtle Beach is in Florida is not the best approach.
This is how I operate. This is my process.
Okay, so
anyway, so I'm going to.
We definitely want you to DM us about what do you think Zach's tattoo is. The rest of it, you can forget it.
No, you can just do it. Anyway, I'm going to Myrtle Beach. I don't know if that's the proper area, but I know my friends that live out there live within an hour of Myrtle Beach. Again, I don't know the state. It's an artistic process. This is how I work.
Apparently.
So I bought a plane ticket. Yep. So I'm going out there for a weekend. Bare Naked Ladies are playing.
I think you said this on the first podcast.
Yeah, see a little BNL, my old band. Jam with them maybe. But
I'll bring you up on stage to play the upright bass.
Yep.
Do they actually have somebody that plays upright bass?
I guess you'll have to find out and DM us and see if questions we don't know the answers to, you will.
Yeah, just answer all of our questions for us.
Well, okay, so then I'm doing that in July. August, I'm going back to Las Vegas. Right now, it's just me. So I booked that flight because I had like $340 in Sun Country credits.
Mm-hmm. Were they expiring or just like, I'm going to Vegas?
Bit of both.
Yeah.
But little known fact or unknown fact, or in case you have Sun Country credits, $340 gives you like you are a king or queen with that damn airline. So, for example, I bought South Carolina. I'm going to say South Carolina. Myrtle Beach. I don't know. Myrtle Beach.
South Carolina.
Las Vegas.
The one that's close to Florida.
I bought 2 round trip flights and I still have $140 or $168 left.
Sun Country.
With Sun Country. So it's like, where should I go? So anyway, so no one right now.
Denver's cheap. You go to Denver for that much.
Yeah, but isn't Denver expensive? Doesn't matter.
No, you just go hike in the mountains.
Excuse me.
Get a little tiny Airbnb. Go hike in the mountains.
Well, okay, so maybe. I kind of want to do something. Well, and that's why I'm picking Vegas in August. Is I'm going to be there from Thursday night till Monday afternoon. And I'm kind of like, what can I do? I can drive exotic cars if I want. I can go hiking there. I can go to the Hoover Dam. There's so much to do in Vegas. That's why I love Vegas so much, is you can do something different every single time you go. And there's a very common misconception that all you do in Vegas is gamble. And all it is casinos.
Yeah.
I think that's not how anyone should ever look at it unless they've gone there and only gambled. And that's, I mean, like, every time I've gone there, I've sat around. When I say sat around, it's been maybe 30 minutes where I've stood around Jake gambling. I don't gamble. I'd rather flush my money down the toilet. But when I say that, it's like, that could be kind of fun. You know, you could make a little boat out of a $20 bill and just.
Well, you like investing. That's kind of gambling. But you're just buying like ETFs and stuff, right?
Yes, we can talk about that at another time, because I read a book, and I mean, I can show you my portfolio. I'm making over 40% in ETFs with an expense ratio of 0.03.
Like your gains are 40%?
Yeah. That's
insane.
Yeah, and that's, for those who don't know, ETFs are exchange traded funds. So they're like, I don't even know how to describe them. They're like,
it's basically just like a bunch of stocks together, right?
Yeah, but they're not mutual funds. Mutual funds, I think, are managed by a person.
Yeah.
And that's where you're going to see the fees of like 3 or 4%. So that's the whole book I read it's called Heads I Win, Tails I Win. It's this guy who worked on Wall Street for a few decades, and he ran all the numbers historically from before, during, and after the stock market crash and everything. Mm-hmm. And he's like, if you would have been in ETFs this whole time, right at the highs and lows, you would be ahead of the market. It wouldn't be by a lot, but you'd beat the market, which is always the benchmark. And so, like, you know, even look, Warren Buffett, one of the richest guys in the world, says do ETFs. Because the whole idea behind it is, okay,
set it and forget it.
Well, set it and forget it, which is easy. But then it's like, I own stock, and selling stock isn't sexy. People think you're like smarter and all that stuff when you buy and sell stock all the time. But the book talks about like the people, you incur commissions, you incur fees. Even mutual funds have all these like 4% fees, so they have to get, like, in order for you to get an 8% gain, they need to return a 12% gain because they're going to take 4% as their fee.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, if you do an ETF, it's 0.03% management fee. It's like you literally can ride the market and beat everyone. And so he goes into, I mean.
So if there's not like a group that puts it together like a mutual fund, who's controlling?
It's a computer.
Really?
So I have, one of mine is a Vanguard, and I think I'm getting like over 30% in that Vanguard. It's like a 0.035 management, whatever. It's literally a computer. And then like the strategy I'm using right now is 90 or 95% in stock ETFs and 5% in bonds, and then bond ETFs. And then every year it's a stupid strategy. Maybe it's not a stupid strategy. It's a good strategy because it makes you feel good. You switch by 1% on each one. So then if it's 95 and 5, you do 94 and 6. And you do that every year until you're, eventually, because then you're slowly diversifying out of, or you're getting more stable stuff like bonds. So and the thing is, every year, probably about every 6 or 7 months, the guy says you should go in and look at your gains and losses, and then trim them back to your percentages. Because if you have, like what I have right now, 40% gain, it's not 95.5. It's probably more like 99.1. So he said by selling everything and trimming it back, you lock in those gains. And then you you reallocate. So he said reallocate maybe once a year or twice a year. But yeah, ETFs are just computers.
I have a question for you. So,
okay.
I've kind of been like interested in Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies for a few years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like since like 2017, there's been talk about creating a Bitcoin ETF. Would you be like more interested in investing in a Bitcoin ETF than actually buying Bitcoin?
Yes, but 1 times 0 is still 0 kind of thing. So
yeah,
I it's not that I don't believe in Bitcoin or anything. It's I don't understand it.
Okay.
Like,
I'll give you like a 30-second pitch.
Well, I know, but I'll preface this with, I used the advice and the wisdom of Warren Buffett, who in the recent years started trading and doing derivatives.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason he never did that before is because he said, I don't understand it. Which I think speaks volumes to his success. And, well, we'll get into what success is too. But financial success.
Yeah. He's been I don't know if he's been anti-Bitcoin, but he's been saying that for years. That he won't touch it because he doesn't understand it.
Right. And like I developed that because I don't understand it. But give me your elevator pitch here.
So all it is a computer program, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it has a limited number of Bitcoins will be created ever. 21 million.
Okay. Why is that? Is there a reason for that?
That number? I don't know, probably, but it's not super important as long as you know that there's a maximum. Right?
Okay.
They get created by there's every 10 minutes a new block is created in this chain of blocks.
Okay.
Right. So when that gets created, a certain number of Bitcoin is injected into the system. So there's computers all around the world that are running nodes. I'm getting way too into it. Okay, hold on. Let me back up.
Sorry, ding. I've reached my level, but nice talking to you, Tim.
Okay, so I'll give you a 5-second elevator pitch. You ready for this?
5 seconds. Okay.
Yep. Instead of trusting humans, okay, this is gonna be more than 5 seconds. I don't like that you're counting. It's making me
Ding.
uncomfortable.
Sorry, sir. I have to go get a pizza.
Instead of trusting humans to
Balance ledgers.
exactly. Thank you. Balance ledgers. You're trusting math.
I'm sorry. What was that?
Math.
With an F or a TH?
MATH.
Okay.
Mathematics.
Sorry. Okay.
So
Accountants can do math.
what? Accountants? Yeah, but people make mistakes and people are greedy. Math isn't.
Okay, so why should I invest in Bitcoin? There's only so much. Everything balances itself, but where does the value derive from? Because of scarcity, there's not a lot of it.
That's part of it. Yeah, that's definitely a big part of it. But a lot of the value, like what makes anything valuable?
Oh,
There's someone else willing to pay for it, right?
potentially.
So, Bitcoin is built on this computer system that makes it decentralized. So there's not one governing party that can control what happens on the network. It's thousands of computers around the world controlled by individuals, controlled by companies. They're all running the same software.
Okay.
And those computers, like you can run one from a $10 Raspberry Pi, as long as you have enough storage. It's like 10 terabytes. No, what is it? 1 terabyte? I don't remember. 2 terabytes maybe.
Hold on, let's
it's
back
not that
up.
much.
So where does the money go when you buy Bitcoin? If it's just people.
So if you can go on exchanges,
Okay.
and purchase Bitcoin from them. So they have a pool of Bitcoin that they have acquired from something, either from mining it, which that's like the block rewards. That's where that goes. So there's people that are putting their processing power into the network to verify all these transactions that are happening on this distributed ledger.
Okay.
So every 10 minutes, a portion of Bitcoin. Every 4 years or so, the portion that gets distributed every 10 minutes gets cut in half. Originally, it was 50 Bitcoin every 10 minutes, then 25, then 12 and a half. I think now it's down to 6 and a quarter. But so yeah, and then by like 2139 or something, all 21 million will be distributed.
By what year?
2139 or something.
So not in our lives.
No, but I mean, like, there's already like 18 million in circulation right now.
But so hold on, I still don't get where the money goes. Like, who gets the money?
So
because if it's going to be distributed, someone has got to pay for it. Who's got the money?
right. So there's all these people that are running these mining computers.
Yeah.
They get the Bitcoins. They are the ones that get the Bitcoins that are newly minted.
Okay.
Then they can trade them for services or whatever, sell them to exchanges. So like there's a lot of big exchanges you can use. Like you can buy Bitcoin on Robinhood.
Okay.
So they would purchase the Bitcoin from these mining companies or whatever.
Okay.
So they have a pool of Bitcoin that Robinhood owns.
Okay.
You give money to Robinhood and they give you Bitcoin in return. Or Square, like Cash App.
Yeah.
You can buy Bitcoin there. There's all these other exchanges, Coinbase, Gemini, Kraken. There's tons of them.
Okay.
So you're paying them money. They give you Bitcoin in return.
Which you can do what with?
I'd like to say that at the very least, it's like gold. It's a hedge against inflation, because it's at 21 million. There's never going to be more created, and people lose them. Like you lose your private keys, so you can no longer access it if you're not careful. So it's ends up being a deflationary currency.
So if people lose their keys and it all gets paid out, well, those who lose their keys, do they not get their payout?
So you
like, would there still be like a bunch of the people who lost their stuff just sitting in a pile? Like, well, they paid out 65% of the Bitcoin, but other people lost their stuff.
Yeah, so it's a public ledger, right? So anyone that's running a Bitcoin node, or any person, can go and look at, like, say my Bitcoin wallet address is 1234567 right?
Okay.
You can go online and just search Bitcoin wallet 1234567 and those Bitcoins are still in that wallet. But if you lose your private keys, you no longer can access that wallet. So those Bitcoins are just stuck there. They're dead.
Okay. Interesting. It's a little deep for my shallow mind, but...
And then, so yeah, like when I started...
Keep talking about it. I gotta...
Okay. When I started getting really into it, there's so much more even on top of that. Like, that's just the beginning. There's like anybody can, because it's, the software is open, like, anybody can look at the code, can copy the code, and can create their own copy of it, basically, and start their own like cryptocurrency. So that's happened a lot. As long as there's a computer running the network, you can start your own cryptocurrency. So there's like tens of thousands of them. Most of them are garbage, but there's other ones that are trying to solve different problems that are super interesting. Probably the other one that's like the most well known and the second biggest one is Ethereum. So they have, it's very similar. There's a distributed ledger just like Bitcoin, but they also added a feature that they call smart contracts. Basically, you can execute code when completing a transaction. So they use that to do like all kinds of different things. And it's like, I'm like really getting into the weeds, but when you start exploring kind of what are the possibilities of Ethereum, and I mean, Bitcoin is a code, but it can be edited. There's teams of people that are working on it. And the only thing, like, there's no company that controls Bitcoin. It's just all the people that are running the computers on the network. So they can decide, like, as a group, we want to start running this new edited version of Bitcoin, right? And they're incentivized to like only change the code in a way that's like beneficial for the network. So they're not going to do something that's going to make it, that's going to break it. And yeah, I don't know if you heard what I was just saying, but
I did. That was very interesting. Very good.
It's the possibilities are endless. Basically, like this whole thing with like Robinhood shutting down trading for GameStop and stuff.
Yeah.
That's like, in my mind, that's just a huge advertisement for Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, because one of the big thing right now in that space is decentralized finance. So I mean, like, trying to explain it's going to get really complicated, and like, I don't want to lose people, but
for another time.
Maybe. Yeah. So basically they're trying to replace the stock market and like put it onto a decentralized platform. So like you could trade stocks or cryptocurrencies, and there would be no one controlling like how much, like when you could buy. I guess with the stock market, it'd still be 8:30 to 5 or whatever it is, 8:30 to 4:30. But yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah, there is a lot of, like I said, I need to educate myself on that. I'm currently working on a couple other things, but that is something I want to understand so then I can speak about it. And
Mm-hmm.
we're not giving anyone financial advice.
Definitely
I want to be clear, but
definitely not. I just like, I have a very obsessive personality. When I start learning about something and it's interesting to me, I like dive way in, and that's something that like multiple times in the last few years there's been like periods where I'm like I get really into it and I just spend all day reading about it and like trying to learn stuff. But
yeah, that's good though. I think that's what everyone. If I say should, that means it sounds like I'm advising, but I'm not advising because I don't think anyone should be advised unless they're paying for it. But I think if you are interested in something, you should seek out, buy a book, educate yourself. Like, that's what I'm doing with a lot of things is if I'm interested in something, I'll buy a book and learn about it. Like e-commerce is very, very interesting to me right now. I dabble in that with my work, but it's more so the financial side with accounting and stuff. So,
yeah.
But it's like, I mean, I'm seeing these books that when I'm seeking out the information, I'm finding these books that are like, run a passive income, run a website from your apartment. And I'm like, well, how do you do that? How do you ship? And it's like drop shipping. You don't even have to hold inventory.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, this is stuff that I'm like, well, duh. And it's like all this stuff. And, but all right, you know what? I'm going to change gears.
Do it.
Well, first, okay, so do we go with the top 10 movies and why and all that discussion? Or do you want to talk about how long have we been going?
I think it's been like an hour.
How long do you want to go?
I think we should save top 10 movies because I feel like that's going to take a while.
Save it for next time?
Yeah.
Okay. So then I'll do my LinkedIn story. I have so many LinkedIn stories, and I'll explain the story and I'll tell you why. Like I said, what's going on in my head, and I explain why I think something is either wrong, right, how I felt about it, and why. And you can kind of logic through my thinking process. I think that's kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you care.
Hit me. I want
All
to
right.
hear.
So the LinkedIn story. So apparently when I was on the hunt for jobs after being let go, whatever, I was in hospitality, so COVID, thanks.
Yeah.
But I let my profile go crazy on LinkedIn and did the free trial and all that stuff. But then I think I let my phone number out there. I don't know how that works. It might still be visible. If it is, shoot me a text and just say, hey, LinkedIn friend, what up? But, yeah, so then I got this, like, someone reached out actually on the little LinkedIn Messenger, and she's like, hey, are you interested in being your own business owner and being, it was the same thing. You'll find it, anyone who starts a LinkedIn, you'll get this. I looked at your profile and you look like a perfect fit. Gag. It's like copy and paste into a million different people thing and see how many people bite, right? I wouldn't say I bit because I had huge lenses of skepticism, but it was like, do you want to be your business owner and whatever passive income? And I said, tell me more. That's pretty. So I kind of was like, yeah, sure. Like, let's see what you got.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I wish I had my LinkedIn up right now. I actually called her out and said, you should really, if you're trying to be personable, you should probably. I called her out on how she, like, her tactic, and she's like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, and then she responded, and I was like, okay, yeah, whatever. So already 2 strikes against her. But then, she's like, oh, a phone call to talk about the opportunity. I was like, ugh, whatever. It was like a Saturday, and I was like, yeah, fine. So and then I look at her profile, and I'm like looking at the chain of events of her career, kind of, and that's where I'm like, I start looking at like, all right, skepticism, all this stuff. everything didn't add up, and I'll get to why it didn't add up. But she calls me. And I am a personable person, I guess. So I said, before you talk at me about this thing, tell me about you, your career, how you got here, and how you were presented with this opportunity. Now, people would say, oh, you're just being nice and everything, but you would be amazed at the information people give out that you don't realize you give out when you're asked a question like that. Because it sounds like I'm being friendly, which I am. I'm genuinely interested.
Mm-hmm.
But I also know the answers, like, you know, when you're not ready for a question and it's a honest one, genuine one,
Mm-hmm.
people will give you a genuine, honest answer in return, but they don't know what they're actually saying, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
Like they don't, like, it kind of caught them off guard, and they're answering it truthfully.
yeah, exactly. And I mean, I don't think that's manipulation at all. I think it's me saying, like, so then I'll go through the phases of the information I took in and everything that I was like, wow, this is so, and then I'll get into what really fired me up. So she starts talking, oh, I did this. I worked at a bank for a while, and then, there was some reductions with COVID, and then I got into, like real estate, helping out like real estate agents do paperwork and whatnot. And I was like, okay, cool, great. Like logical kind of transition from one to the other kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw this on her LinkedIn profile history. So I said, okay, this is adding up, it's like testing, it's working. And then she's like, yeah. And then Mike met me at the bank right before I transitioned into real estate. And I was like, Mike, the most, I would argue, more common than John at this day and age.
It's probably close.
Broad, so I'm like, okay, Mike, okay, cool. She's like, yeah, so Mike is 44, and he's like, yeah, I'm retiring. And this is where I was like, the way she presented it, I was like, this is a damn story that you read out of a damn book. Mm-hmm. of a sales pitch. And so, like, she transitioned, I would say, okay, but when someone's listening, like me,
you're a very good listener.
I'm a very good listener, I would argue. But so then she says, yeah, Mike approached me at the bank, and he said he was retiring. And I said, what? You're so young. How old are you? I'm 44, 43. Okay. How are you doing that? Passive income. I was like, okay. And then it was like, yeah, so Mike, I was like, financial stability and all that. I was like, I want to retire at 43. And that can be another episode all in of itself, but I was like, about my opinion on that. But I was like, well, what does Mike do? And she's like, well, that's kind of what I'm calling you about. So Mike, we mentor people and something, it was all this stuff. And when I say I'm a good listener, I am, but I'm like, I listened to this gal talk for 20 minutes about what Mike and what she does. And at the end of 20 minutes, I looked at my watch and I said, I'm sorry, you need to like tell me what you actually do before I give you any more of my time, because I've been polite, but you have not told me what you do. She's like, well, we're kind of like a mentoring thing, to mentor people about how to start their businesses and how to manage stuff like that. And we're kind of like the Amway. And at that point I was like, nope, I am out, so it's Amway and under a different guise.
What's Amway?
Amway is like, they make very good quality products, but they are about 7 times the price of what you can find for name brand products at Target. And so what they try to do is they sell you, really, if you join that Amway stuff, you reach out to all your friends and family who want to support you, and they buy your shit. And yep. And then it's like it's like the pyramid scheme they always talk about. You recruit 4 people below you, and then their sales like trickle up to you. And that's what Mike was. Mike was at the top, and he had a team of like 19 people below him selling crap to all their friends and family that they didn't need or that were so damn expensive, whatever. But Mike's raking it all in because of passive income, whatever. So as soon as I heard that, I was like, yeah, I can't believe I gave this much time to this person. But I was polite and professional. It's LinkedIn contact. Don't burn any bridges unless you have to. But if you burn them, you should make sure they cannot be reconstructed. But so this is what grinded my gears then. It's because I was like, you know what? I don't really think this is my thing, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, well, are you familiar with the concept of like passive income? And that's where I'm like, I'm an accountant. I wasn't born yesterday. I was born at night. I wasn't born last night. Yes. Oh, I shouldn't assume that you don't know. And I'm like, you didn't have to say that.
Yeah.
You know, and then she's like, well,
it comes across as kind of fake.
Well, then this is the thing that set me off, and this is what I am. The main purpose of the story is. She said this question. Well, do you want to be successful? Again, a loaded gun question that I hate.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
They're
so
like forcing you into an answer.
Well, what do you answer to that? Do you want to be successful?
No, I'm good.
Right? I mean, so like then you're like, oh. No, so she asked that, and then that's where I was like, all right, you know what? I'm going to give you some time. You know, you wasted some of mine, but I'm going to educate you a little bit. And so then I started letting her loose, and I said, depends what you define as success. Right?
That's pretty good. Yeah.
And she's like, well, obviously financial success. And I said, I have a job I love and I get paid, I think, fair. I agree to it, so I think it's very fair. I said, that to me is successful. What makes me more successful, in my eyes, is working for a purpose and helping the people I work for and, you know, all that stuff. And I was like, are you assuming all success is financial? Because that is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, well, you know, and I was like, I just kind of kept really drilling her down where I was like, some people just want to punch a clock, go home and be with their kids and family and have a successful parental familial life. I said, that's success, 100%, you know?
Seems like it'd be a lot stressful than trying to get people to buy your Amway products.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, I just got so upset with that answer or that question of like, do you want to be successful? It's like, you don't know my definition of success.
Right.
And you shouldn't assume it's all money. Because then it's like, honestly, look at all the people who have lots of money. Like, not saying they're unhappy or anything, but, you know, there's a whole concept between being rich and being wealthy. There's a big difference. And the big difference is time. In an elevator pitch, I'd rather be wealthy than rich. Because wealth is a concept of time. So if you and I both have $1 million and you have $100,000, we both have $100,000 in expenses.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's 10 months of being rich. So wealth is a concept of time. How long can that $1 million last you? Or so that's where you invest or you create a business that returns money. Like, it's a concept of time. Wealth is that. So I want to be wealthy because that means I can do things longer than the guy who's got rich. And it makes sense when you look at professional athletes who go bankrupt after they stop playing because they don't know how to manage their money or anything. But anyway, so I just got fired up with that story as far as like, what is success? I think, so I guess, what is success to you, Tim? It can be, it doesn't have to, it can be money. There's nothing wrong with that. But just that question is so open-ended to where you shouldn't ask it as if it is only one answer, which drives me up a wall. So,
I think, I mean, I don't really care about money. Really, I just want enough money to like not have to think about it and be able to do the things that I want to do.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is.
So how do you can you achieve more success? Is that just by doing more things you want to do? That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, yeah.
Or I think just the goal would be do whatever I want to do, you know?
That makes sense.
Nice.
Cool. All right.
My dad texted me today. You
What did
know?
he say?
Actually, he asked me the other day, he goes, because he's not on Facebook, and that's like the only place that I kind of was, well, he's not really, I guess, on any social medias. But he said, if I wanted to listen to your podcast, what do I have to search to find it? So I told him, I was like, just search couch beers, it'll come up. He was like, couch what? Couch beers? So he must have actually looked it up today, because he took a screenshot. It was like the Google podcast screen on his phone or something.
Nice.
And sent it to me. He goes, "You're missing a letter in your intro." And I'm like, "What?" Or he's like, "No," he said, "You're missing something in your intro." And I'm like, "What am I missing?" And I thought he meant like the song, like that plays at the beginning. And he said, an A. And I like reread it. I wrote, I don't know if you've seen it. It says, "It's podcast about nothing."
Oh.
It's like a Seinfeld reference, right? It's a show about nothing.
Yeah.
But I just wrote, "It's podcast about nothing." So I fixed it today after he
Well,
said
I mentally filled it in because
I did
didn't
too,
notice
yeah.
that.
Because actually the first time I wrote a podcast about nothing. But I'm pretty sure in the show they say it's a show about nothing. Like they keep saying that. It's a show about nothing.
Yeah, well. Damn, he's reading too.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah. It's funny.
That's awesome. And then I got one more update for everyone because everyone's very invested in this.
I want to know. I'm invested.
Yeah. Well, update in Zach's love life. No dice. But I do have a couple of one-liners I might throw out there someday.
Okay.
I'll do my not as good one, and then I'll follow with what I think is the best one.
Yeah.
And I'll give you why. So, not so good one. Reason I went to the bookstore today.
Yeah. Would you go to Barnes and Noble?
Yes. So, on episode 2, I went to the bookstore looking for a book, and what I think was a pretty gal was helping me. I couldn't tell she had a mask on. I did too, but I had it pulled down because I was drinking a Red Bull.
Wait, in the store?
Yeah, so it didn't help me because I was like...
Wait, you were drinking a Red Bull at like 5 o'clock?
Well, it was a Friday last time, so...
Oh, I thought you meant today.
So I was like, let's go crazy. And we watched that one movie.
Ford vs. Ferrari.
Yeah. But, so today I did the same tactic, thinking I would stand out as being... Well, it doesn't help. Like, before when I walked in there, I already had it cracked, so I was like, walked in there with the Red Bull, whatever. But in a dead silent Barnes & Noble on a Thursday night, when you crack, it sounds like a beer. I mean, so I just like kind of looked around and everyone was kind of like looking in my direction like, did someone just crack a beer in this bookstore? Whatever.
Wait,
Anyway,
so what did you crack today?
a Red Bull.
You had a Red Bull today?
Mm-hmm.
That seems insane.
I am insane.
You go to sleep. You're gonna go to sleep in like, so that 5 o'clock was 2 hours ago.
Whoa.
You're gonna go to sleep in 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
After you just drank a Red Bull.
Yep.
I don't know how that's possible.
I mean, it's not like it's loaded, like it's 80, it's like a cup of coffee.
Yeah, I can't. I would not be able to sleep. On whatever it was, Sunday, I had a Mountain Dew at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I had trouble sleeping Sunday night.
I don't know what to tell you, man.
I'm very affected by caffeine.
Or is it sugar?
It's probably both.
Probably need some insulin after that damn thing.
Maybe.
I do sugar-free Red Bull, so...
Okay, sorry, I interrupted your story. I was more intrigued about the Red Bull.
So, my line I was going to use if the gal approached me tonight was going to be, in all these aisles of books, I'm more interested in your story.
But she wasn't there.
She wasn't there, so I just walked
sad.
around the bookstore for 10 minutes to find out that she was nowhere to be seen. So
you went to the bookstore just hoping she'd be there?
I mean, I was looking for books too. Like, there's one book I want to buy, but I'll go be there in 2 weeks again just to...
You should have said that you were going to the bookstore just to see her. That would have been a lot sweeter.
Well, sweeter but creepier, right? She doesn't know me.
That's true.
DM me if you think my tactic is better or if Tim's is.
Well, I didn't have a tactic.
You just said go there and be like, I came here for you. Okay, anyway.
No, I didn't say tell her that. I said you should just say it right now.
Oh, well. I'm going to say it's a 50-50 thing because that's weird. I don't know her. Maybe she kills people.
Maybe you kill people.
Public date. I don't kill people. Oh. But, so then the better line that I think it's a slam dunk.
Is this still for the bookstore girl?
It's for any gal, really.
Okay.
So, it's whatever. The person's there, and it's like, okay. You go up to him and say, do I know you? The answer is that they will say is, no. No. Whatever, right?
No, they'd probably be like, I don't think so.
Okay, so I don't think so.
They might be a little bit weirded out that you walk up to them and say, do I know you?
I mean, it's not like an accusatory question. It's like a genuine, like, do I know you?
Well, you could, okay. I think this is the way I would do it if I were you.
Okay, well, hold on. I'm not done with it.
Okay, I got too excited, sorry.
Okay, you be the girl, I'll be the guy.
Okay, I will be.
Okay. Hey, do I know you?
I don't think so.
Should I?
I don't know how to answer that question.
See, I think that's like, it's kind of one of those like Midwest loaded guns, right?
You should say, if I don't, I want to.
See, I think that's really forward and really...
I was too confused by your follow-up question.
So the reason I love my follow-up question of should I is it puts them in a answering opportunity to where if they say no, it's kind of like, no, you shouldn't know me. Well, why shouldn't I know you? It must mean you're a bad person or you've done something wrong. Or, like it's like I said, it's one of those loaded gun questions that I hate.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like in a polite way because, I don't know. So that's the way I look at it. Because think about it. Like, should I? Like, if someone asks, should I know you? Like, to me, if someone asked me that and I said no, I'd feel like, but why shouldn't they know me?
I feel like
Am I a bad person?
I feel like this won't work with a mask on.
Well,
with a mask on, like, she won't be able to read your face.
Okay, I'll take off the Freddy Krueger mask.
Well, no. I mean, you gotta leave that one in your pocket for post-COVID.
Yeah. So, well, like I said, those are my two options at this point. I think the first one's pretty good though too, right?
That's not bad.
In all these aisle of books, I'm more concerned.
But I'm not a woman, so I'm not sure if it would. I don't really understand if it would work on me or not as a woman.
Well, because you're so macho.
I don't think anybody has ever looked at me and said, "You're so macho" before.
I bet Belinda has.
No.
She's probably like, "Oh, you're so macho. You're hairy like animal."
I don't know why she has an accent like that. She's from Wisconsin.
It's from a Austin Powers movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So I had an idea. Wait, do you have more? You're looking at your little notes here.
I was looking for more.
I have an idea for a recurring bit. I'm not sure if it's dumb or not. So I want to test it out, get your take on it.
Get the listeners' take.
Sure.
DM us if you think it's a great idea.
The only thing is, I think it's going to take like 30 seconds and then be over, and like, it's not really going to work.
What are we talking about here, Jim?
Okay. We'll just get on with it. So in the first episode, I said that I've been learning to play guitar.
Yep.
Like teaching myself. So I want to try something. In every episode, I'm going to learn a new song, play it, and see if you can guess it. Okay.
Fine.
So I didn't test this out beforehand, so it might be
me a song right now.
Yeah, I'm going to try. Well, I'm going to basically, because I'm not that good yet, I'm going to play part of a song because I can't play the whole thing and see if you can guess it.
It's like that stupid show that is like by one note you can determine the song.
Yeah, there you go. I'm going to play a lot more than one note, but
Thank goodness.
I don't know if this is going to be super loud or super quiet, but we're just going to go for it.
Brace ourselves. There's only one river. There's only one sea.
All right, ready?
Yep. Oh, I know it. It's the Johnny Cash. Yep. I hurt myself today.
Yep. Okay.
What's the name of that song? Hold on. Hurt, right? No.
Yeah, it's called Hurt.
Yeah.
It's actually,
got it.
Did you know it's actually a Nine Inch Nails cover?
Yes.
Okay, I knew you were gonna get that one. So
Did you know?
Yeah, because I was like fiddling with my guitar last time when you showed up and I was playing that and you recognized it. That's what made me think of it. So I'm gonna play another one because I knew.
Now?
Yep.
Okay.
This one. Yeah, I don't think you're gonna.
This one's 9 Inch Nails again.
I think you're gonna recognize this one, but never mind. I'm gonna stop talking.
Oh my
I
gosh.
screwed it up.
Come on, man. No, that's Burt Reynolds. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. That's Deliverance, right? I don't know what the name of the song is. Jeez, Mr. Man. I don't know the name of the song. It's from Deliverance, though.
I've only ever heard it called Dueling Banjos. I don't know if there's an actual name for it, but
Yeah, that's Burt Reynolds and Deliverance, man. That's the hillbillies being like,
yep, that's all I got.
that's good,
I have another one that I've been practicing a lot.
but I don't want to do it right now.
Yeah, I'm definitely not good enough at it yet. I'm not ready to debut it. But Alyssa's heard me play it. She was impressed.
Let's see here. She's country. It must be a Luke Combs song.
Nope. But like, we were doing this thing the other day where like she would name a song and I would Google it and try to play along with it. It was pretty fun.
Yeah.
Because like
and she's the singer, right?
No.
She can sing.
Well, she's okay. I
So
mean,
she does sing.
I don't think she would say she sings, but she's not a bad singer. But she you can go online, like you just go on YouTube and Google whatever song you want to play. Starting Over Chris Stapleton with chords on YouTube.
That's going to be next week's.
No, it's not. But you can like play along with the song. They put the lyrics up there, and then they put the chord progressions, and you just can play the chords along with the song. It's kind of fun. I want to pick songs that like you will recognize the guitar part. You know.
Well, I'm not uncultured swine, so
It's true.
you should definitely throw it at me.
I'll give you a hint. So, did you play Guitar Hero back in the day?
Yes. Did you?
Are you familiar with Guitar Hero 3?
Nope.
The song's from Guitar Hero 3. So, if you... I mean, I don't know how big the song was. You might still recognize it. It is a pretty big song. Big band, but...
You too?
No.
Does it...
I'm not giving any more hints. That was a lot of hints.
DCAC?
DCAC. No.
I got a good bit that we can educate.
Okay.
Like phrases that have origins that... Do you know what the origins are? Put it that way.
I don't.
Like the origin of like, that's a real McCall. Where did that come from?
I've never even heard that before.
Okay, well, it's an
Sounds
old-timer
like
one.
It's an old-timer one?
Well, so then we have these
Is that from
discussions.
Smokey and the Bandit?
We have this. No, it's from like, probably an old Western thing. But, like my family on my dad's side, we always talk about, like, yeah, phrases and the origins of it. So one of them was a horse apiece.
Mm-hmm.
And so we went so far deep without using cell phones to where we thought it was a horse of peace. Like, instead of like, you know, each one gets a horse apiece.
Yeah.
That was to like determine if it was fair or not, you know.
Yeah.
It's a horse apiece, okay. But we were talking and discussing it, and we're like, or is it a horse of peace?
That reminds
just it's hilarious, these quotes. I don't know. That's where I think it'd be fun.
That'd be a fun bit. Are you gonna pick out
I could.
sayings? Okay.
I mean, so those one of them would be that's the real McCall. I think it's was it a gun or was
So okay, are you gonna look it up beforehand?
Yeah, I can do it. I just
Okay.
didn't know if you knew it.
No, I've never heard that before. That did remind me of so when we were in the Boundary Waters when we were kids.
I've never been
You
to
don't-
Boundary Waters with Tim ever.
I want to go back.
Not even as
Put
kids.
that on my list of post-COVID things. Really, you could kind of be socially distanced there extremely easily, but
Except in a tent.
well, yeah, that's true. You'd have to have your pod. But I was gonna say when we were in the Boundary Waters, so there was I think there was maybe 10, 12, 15 of us or something like that.
Okay.
So as we're canoeing around in the lakes, you don't have cell phone service. It's in the middle of the woods, the middle of this patch of lakes,
Canada.
northern Minnesota,
Uh-huh.
Canada, right? We had a debate for multiple days leading up to when we finally got off the lakes and back into civilization, yeah. That we could look it up. It was who was the guy on Rush Hour, Chris Rock or Chris Tucker?
Chris Tucker.
Yeah, but it was like a battle. We couldn't remember
Wow.
who it was.
Cool.
I don't
Interesting.
remember which camp I was in. I think I was in the good guys, Chris Tucker. But
The good guys. We could do in the last 2 weeks current events too.
you want to?
I mean,
I don't really pay attention to current events.
I don't
though.
pay attention. You know me. I don't pay attention to any news at all. But I look.
I actually do read the news pretty much every day. But
So financial news is kind of where I look because I don't think you can really negate or you can't misconstrue that to an extent.
yeah.
So
How much did you follow the GameStop stuff? Because I was obsessed with it.
so I knew it was happening, and then I mentioned it to my boss, and he informed me a lot and valid points, and because I publicly went on LinkedIn onto a post or a news post or something, and I just said, hey, I don't understand why Washington is getting involved. And then I brought it up to my boss the next day, and he informed me what all these shady, crazy things that were happening that shed light on the stuff. And that's where I was like, that's why Washington's getting involved.
You mean the fact Robinhood is shutting down trading?
Yeah,
and
so
stuff?
that's wrong.
Yeah.
And then the layer that, what is it?
It's
Citadel?
bad. It's bad when AOC, Ted Cruz, and Donald Trump Jr. all agree on something.
Yeah. Which, so hold on, back up real quick. Because Citadel was a big hedge fund firm or something.
Right.
Has a 40% stake in
Yeah.
Robinhood,
Yeah.
which if they're losing hand over fist, yeah, they might have influence with 40% to say shut down trading.
Can you
So
give
it's
a really quick summary of exactly what we're talking about? Or I can.
Well, jump in. I'll jump in, or you jump in when. I'll tell you what I know. How
Okay.
about that?
Yeah.
So my understanding is, Wall Street hedge funds were shorting the stock. So when you short, it's essentially taking.
You're betting you're betting that the stock is going to go down.
Right. So in to explain it would be Tim, you have shares of GameStop stock, and I'm Wall Street, and I think the stock is overvalued. So I go to a broker and say, I want to short GameStop. So Tim lends his shares to the broker. The broker gives them to me. I sell them for today's price with the hope that the price drops. If the price drops, and then the strike price, say it's a week from now, I don't know, and say the stock was $100, I short it for $100, so I take $100 in today. If next week the price drops to $90, I make money, but I have to return the shares to Tim. So I buy the stock back at $90, making a $10 profit. I give the shares back to the broker. The broker takes his fee of whatever it is, $1.
Mm-hmm.
So my $10 profit turns into $9 because I got to pay the broker. The broker gives the stock back to Tim. So what's happening, and correct me if I'm wrong, Tim, because you said you were really following it.
Yeah.
That's what shorting is. So
Yeah.
all these hedge funds were shorting the hell out of the stock, saying this stock isn't worth anything. It's like a Radio Shack, kind of.
Yeah.
And so they were hoping the stock price would drop. Well, I think every week or every 2 weeks or something, this is what my boss told me. I think they don't have to say what the strike price is, but I think the hedge funds have to release for transparency or something what their positions are as far as like if they're shorting or buying or whatever.
Yep.
But they don't have to say the prices. So I think these Wall Street bets on Reddit, these are all these people that are like, hey, Wall Street's betting the farm that GameStop is going to just tank. So they told everyone, individual consumers like you and I, you listening, to buy the stock to jack up the price.
And then when
that's where
the hedge funds have to buy the stock back to repay their borrow from the
right. So when they buy this, so they short it at $100 and the stock price goes up to $200, they lose $100 per share. Like that's how. So that's what was happening is some of these hedge funds. I don't know if they did or if they still are or whatever. We're going to go bankrupt. Right. It's like you can, and that's where I think there was some shady stuff going on where they were like buying and selling back and forth between hedge funds to try to prolong it. I don't know. There's all this stuff that my boss was he was informing me, and I was like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then so you tell me what you know.
It's on Reddit. It started as like these people were like, look, the GameStop it's actually undervalued. Like they have they're starting to change their business model. They were just selling video games, like physical copies of video games and video game consoles, but a lot of people buy their games digitally now, so that huge part of their market was gone. And that's why the hedge funds were shorting it. But the people on Reddit were like, it should be worth more than it is now, so I'm gonna buy a bunch of the stock. And then when it got around this year, 2020, both Xbox and PlayStation released new consoles, so that was a huge thing for GameStop to actually have value still. And they hired, or I guess they didn't hire him, but one of the guy that started Chewy, like the
dogs thing,
like pet store online, that's huge. It's like all e-commerce. He bought a bunch of GameStop stock, and now he's like on the board. So he's like, I have a plan to turn the company around. So that made the price like seem even more undervalued, but the price wasn't going up because the hedge funds were still like buying more short positions. And so then like these people on Reddit were like, this is so undervalued. Like we should buy this. Like this is such a good buy. So it started as that. And then it turned into, they realized that the hedge funds were like over shorting. I don't even know how this is possible, but it was like
138%.
Yeah, 138%.
It's illegal.
Is it really?
Yeah.
So like basically like they borrow the stock, and then they borrow more so that it's like more than all of the, like, say there's 100,000 shares of GameStop stock, right? Mm-hmm. If it was 138% shorted, they've shorted or like borrowed more stock than is in existence, right?
Right. And that's why my understanding that is illegal, and the way it happened, I think, is the SEC shit the bed.
Like they weren't paying attention? Terms.
Like I think the SEC is a very large, powerful organization that I think does a lot of good, but I think there are some things that it's one of those things where I'm not saying Wall Street is evil, but I'm saying, to me, I think incentives are more powerful than punishments.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think when you create a environment where, like, I think that's where Wall Street adapted and started doing shady things to work around the specific regulations. I can't cite them specifically, but what I'm saying is more so it fell under the radar, or like the radar did capture it for the SEC.
Okay.
And so like I said, I don't know a lot about all that stuff, but it just like what it is to me it's kind of obvious. Like, you shouldn't, if you're a hedge fund, you shouldn't have any skin in the game for a broker.
Yeah.
Like, that seems really shady. I can't, like, the independence.
So,
like,
I guess
I can't believe that's even allowed.
Robinhood, I haven't actually read like that much into this, but Robinhood's excuse, I think, was that like they didn't have like the liquidity to take in more bets or like more purchases.
And so, I mean, I don't know all the facts surrounding it, but me personally is kind of like, but if a different player was making a ton of money, do you think money could just appear within seconds? I think so.
Yeah.
So, and that's where I think, I mean, you shut down, what was it? Buying, right? Not
they
selling.
could sell it, they couldn't buy
which
it.
is trash.
Yeah. So that basically forces the price to go down.
Exactly. And my boss was telling me, and it 100% made sense. And he's so good at explaining. He said, I mean, honestly, the hedge funds were probably, and Robinhood even was probably saying, like, you know what? We can just take a couple $1 million fine from the SEC for doing that instead of losing hundreds of millions of dollars on the short. So which is wrong. It's like, okay, if you're going to save that much money, you should be hit that with fines if you're going to shut down trading for everyone.
Yeah. A lot of people, like on the consumer side, like the people on Reddit, a lot of people have animosity towards these hedge funds because they think that like I don't know. I've heard arguments that like shorting is good for the market, but they think that like these hedge funds, because they have so much money and they're so powerful, that they're like, when they say we're taking a short position on GameStop, it forces the stock to go down, and then they take another short position on GameStop, it forces the stock to go down, and then like people are saying that like this is them trying to force GameStop into bankruptcy to make money. So that's like part of the reason was like they thought it was they thought it was undervalued, and then as the price is going up, they realized that these hedge funds were in trouble, and they said, if we keep buying more GameStop stock, it's like a big middle finger to these billionaires that are just throwing around money to take advantage of people.
And that's kind of what I understood from the limited information I heard from this whole thing, was the reason commoners like you and I were buying it is because it wasn't because they thought it was good, sound investment advice or anything.
Right.
It was half of these people get stimulus money and they're like, what do I do with it? Screw it. Everyone's telling me to buy this stock and it can bankrupt a hedge fund. Why the hell not? I mean, to me, I think it's hilarious. What I'm terrified about now is the second and third waves of how Washington is going to get involved. And when I say that, what I mean for the personal consumer, I think they're going to try to get rid of Robinhood and say it's a gamification of stock investing, they're going to put it under the guise that they're protecting the common person.
Yeah.
So they're going to impose weird restrictions or things, or, which, like, I talked with my mother about this, and she was saying the common person doesn't understand how to invest and do all that. There needs to be some safeguards in place. And I said, tell me what the safeguards when you go to a casino.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not that the stock market is that, but if you're, I mean, kinda.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
Is, yeah.
there is inherent risk of losing all of what you put in the stock market.
Right.
A company could go bankrupt tomorrow. Like, there's all this stuff. And so when she was saying all that, and I said, specifically, what do you want? And she couldn't say, because she just said, we need to protect the little guy. And I said, but you don't understand. The little guy is who got screwed here.
Yeah.
They shut down trading when they wanted to buy more. That's wrong.
Right.
And she's like, you know,
it's not like you can't just migrate to another platform in a day.
Right. And even if you could, for like as fast as that goes, I mean, it's just I don't know. So like my fear is that I think Washington should get involved with, as far as the independence between a broker and a hedge fund, and make sure there is complete independence between each one.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm terrified of is what happens to the individual consumer, as far as us, like restricting us to do certain things. I think it's our right to bet it all on something and get potentially unlimited gains, or unlimited losses. I think it's the enlisting in the idiot army. You know, like, that's your right.
Yeah, I think it happens kind of in the cryptocurrency space too, where like after the GameStop thing, they're like, people all over Twitter and Reddit and stuff are saying, let's buy Dogecoin. So Dogecoin was created as a joke.
Yep.
It's basically just a copy of Litecoin, which is a copy of Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
And just one guy did it, put it out into the universe, and there's still people that run like the network a little bit.
Yeah.
And so like it doesn't have the properties that Bitcoin has, where it's a limited supply. It's unlimited supply.
Uh-huh.
There's like 10,000 created every minute or something like that. So like these people are out there trying to drive up the price. They're like, if we all buy together, then the price will go up. Yeah, the price is going to go up, but it doesn't actually have any value. So the price is going to come flying back down eventually.
Yeah.
And Elon Musk is tweeting about Dogecoin. And every time he does, the price goes flying up, and he's like having so much fun.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's I mean, I think it's very fascinating times. And I mean, not at all to get political, but it's amazing. Like when you said AOC, Ted Cruz, and
Donald Trump Jr.
Yeah, like they're all on it. I mean, it's like Ted Cruz like retweeted or supported AOC's like, yeah, this is all wrong.
Yeah.
And she fired back at him and said, how dare you like jump on my bandwagon? And it's like, get off, like, listen to you guys. It's so politicized in that nature, where I'm like, you guys can't even agree on one thing. Like, you can, but you can't publicly say it. That's so messed up. And I think that is wrong.
Yeah. I think she has like a personal grudge against him, but.
Right. Well, I think she's got a personal grudge against anyone who doesn't agree with her. Or, no, excuse me, anyone not in her party, because Ted Cruz agreed with her and she just said no. you jumped on my bandwagon.
That whole thing is like kind of different, where like the reason she was like, I think she even said like, I'm all about trying to come together on terms, but don't come at me right now. I'm still mad at you.
I mean, I don't know. To me, that just seems childish when you're talking about.
But that's what I mean. She was like, took it very personally.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. Like,
it wasn't political as much.
Well, and that's what I just mean with all the politics is like, it's like they bitch about things to each side, and who suffers? We do. You know.
Yeah.
It's just one of those funny things that I wish people would be not like aware that, as if like they're screwing us, but just like be more conscious of like what second and third waves are, not just the first initial wave of like, this is great, but like thinking down the road, like think down the road and say, what are the ramifications of this? I think that would be beneficial.
Yeah.
In other news, Jeff Bezos is stepping down as CEO of Amazon.
Yeah, I didn't really read why. Is he just I don't want to work anymore? Well, I did read. So he he sleeps like 10 hours a day. He only makes 3 decisions a day. That was like one of his things. So it's like, I saw this, I think it was on Twitter, I don't remember, but it just said Amazon is officially losing its least efficient employee or something like that.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of haters that surround people who are financially successful and have prestige.
Yeah. I think people really don't like Amazon because their kind of supply chain like is very gamified, and it's like basically if you're not like they pay their employees pretty well, but if you're not like working as hard as you possibly can, you're going to get fired because someone else will take your job because they pay so well.
I think there's that. There's different ways to view things too. Like I know there's a guy that I knew in college who worked at Amazon, and he was up for like the next step would be like a big pay raise.
Mm-hmm.
And they got rid of him for a technicality, and he thinks it's because they didn't want to pay him. Now, I don't know, but I've heard this story from multiple people.
Mm-hmm.
And now when multiple people say that, and I know their repertoire as far as working and all that, it sounds like Amazon almost creates an environment to where they can pick and choose. And I don't agree with it, but I'm just saying like it really seems that way.
Yeah.
Based on what I've heard, because I don't think everybody I know is like a POS worker.
Right.
And when they let you to work from home and do all that, like, I don't know. It's like the first time I heard it, I was like, I don't necessarily think it's evil company. But then when there's someone who's highly competent, works hard, says the same thing, that's where I'm like, that's weird. And I hear it again and again. It's kind of like, interesting. Why? To me, it becomes a trend. And I mean, I read just a brief article on the Bezos leaving. I mean, the consumer market of Amazon 20 years ago was 100% like retail. And that's where all the revenue came from. And now, like as of 2020 or 2019, their retail business produced 60% of the revenue. Or no. Yeah, I don't know. It was something like that where, all these analysts are projecting AWS that's who took over.
Yeah.
And like the article I read said, there's a reason why the director of like retail consumer business didn't take the reins. AWS guy did.
Right.
Because that's the direction of the company. It's the retail thing is going to be a side gig. It's going to be all AWS.
Damn.
That's what I read, and I was kind of like, yeah, I don't know why Bezos stepped down. Obviously, he must be like, I don't know that, or maybe he doesn't share that vision, and he hasn't said it publicly. There's so many. I mean, there are so many in college when we talked about finance and investing. I mean, we were taught to to look at different key indicators, like because you can tell when in a public company when a CEO or CFO or anyone with stock options is buying or selling, it triggers, like the SEC alerts you or lets the public know. It's public information. And there's even like regulations around when they can sell. So like Bezos can't just like unload tomorrow everything and be like, I'm going to be holding billions of dollars in cash. That's not, the SEC wouldn't allow him to sell everything. They can say, okay, you can sell this many shares over 3 months, and that, then we'll revisit how many you want to, there's all these regulations surrounding that. But it's like, we were taught, if you see a CEO selling shares, the idea is management knows more about the company than you do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, they either are unloading the stock, trying to get rid of it, thinking it's going to drop, or if they're buying shares. That's a good indicator. Like, it's going places. So I think when you're at that level at a huge company, I think it becomes a game for the public. Even if your company's not doing great, I think you still buy shares because everyone's going to say, why is the CEO buying shares? There's no reason he should. But there's still, like people are going to look at that. Analysts are going to look at that. Whatever. But yeah, I don't know. That's all I can do for news.
Me too. I think we've been going for like 2 hours.
All right. Well, we better call her then.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks for listening.
Clap.
Thanks for watching. Whatever you're doing.
DM us on all that stuff we told you to.
Mostly just what tattoo you think Zach has. That's the most important one.
What's the real McCall?
See ya.
See ya. Peace.